And we are back. So for those of for those of you who aren't aware, we had a minor mishap there. So we're gonna go ahead and just quickly run through the intro. So I am Senator Skylar Howell, and I'm here with,
Senator Andrea Gaitan.
and of course we are the SJ Insider. This is episode 3, and really quickly, Andrea's gonna go over a recap of all the events and actions that took place last week.
Of course. So last week I was talking about all the new upcoming Halloween events for the month of October. So for this week, we have events all the way through Thursday. So we have the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th. So for the 7th, we had Sundays on Mondays today, and that was at 12. I unfortunately could not go to that, but next Sundays on Mondays for
For
sure.
sure, you'll see us there. So really quickly, this past Friday was a Senate meeting, of course, and so we always provide you guys the latest updates and highlights of this past Senate meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and discuss the important highlights, and then I'm going to hand the floor over to Andrea to get her opinion on things. So firstly, we had a guest speaker, Mr. Richard Clayton, and he was with the military services, and he spoke about the clinical services available to all students and military veterans attending UTRGV. They offer both online and in-person services on both campus. And most importantly, services are completely free to all students. So please check that out. The UTRGV Veterans Success Center offers various resources, including mental health services, veteran outreach programs, transitioning back to civilian life services, and many more. And you can visit the websites www.utrgv.edu/veterans, or you can look up UTRGV Counseling Services. Next up, we had the president's report, and we had Vice President Jimenez just pretty much inform the Senate that she's going to be scheduling meetings with the library and IT departments. And then, of course, we had Vice President Zuniga, who informed the Senate that he was just reviewing applicants for SGA. On the advisor's report, the advisor announced applications open for 2 leadership positions available to all students, and one of them being the Student Representative Board of Regents, and the second being the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. All students are encouraged to go ahead and apply for this position, and you can apply on VLink. Next up, we had the standing committee reports with academic affairs. Nothing really too much to report on. However, on campus life and community affairs, we did announce the student attendance for the Meet Your SGA Representatives event that took place last week on October 1st and October 3rd. In Brownsville, we actually had a higher turnout of students with 136. Edinburgh had a turnout of 132. And of course, that was an amazing turnout, and we were really glad to see all of our students ask questions and get engaged with the Student Government Association. And then, of course, there is still a pending legislation in committee, and whenever we pass that, I will definitely let you guys know. On the financial affairs side, they're just continuing to review travel fund applicants. And on the internal affairs, actually, I think this was the most busiest committee this past Senate meeting. They approved candidates to be presented to the Senate floor to be appointed, which we'll get into a little later. They also approved legislation that will be voted on during the next Senate meeting. And then they are working on SGA, the graduating ceremony for all our graduating members of SGA in fall 2024. And with new business, and this is pretty much going to wrap it up, we actually have 2 new members of SGA. We have a new senator for the College of Business, Kevin Ramirez, and we have a new associate justice, Isabella Zapata. So we want to congratulate Kevin Ramirez and Isabella Zapata for being welcomed into the SGA family, and we wish them the best of luck. And so with that, Andrea, I know there was quite a lot to get to this Senate meeting. What stood out to you, and what would you like to say to our viewers?
Of course. So first, I wanted to take the time to thank Mr. Richard Clayton for coming with us. It's always a real treat when we actually have special guests over. So that was really nice, and we had an honor having him there and speaking to us. And then, like you said, a really big shout out and also a big congratulations to Kevin and Isabella on their appointments. And with that, we actually had our interns at the Senate meeting, so they actually got to see how it
Great
works.
point. Yes, yes. We, for those of you who don't know, me and Andrea are also mentors this semester for interns that are thinking about going into SGA, and they were actually present there at the Senate meeting. So it was really nice to see some familiar faces, but also for them to kind of see how a Senate meeting works, because I know oftentimes when you hear about the Student Government Association and you hear that we have Senate meetings, students don't really know what that looks like, what happens in these Senate meetings. And so for the interns to get that experience and to get that first hand view, I mean, they were right in the back, so they can see everything. To get that experience was great for them, and I hope they learned a lot, and hopefully it'll just pique their interest even more about joining SGA. But that's a great point. Yes, we did see our interns. We even took a picture with them. I'm sure you'll see it on social media if you look at SGA's Instagram or the FY program's Instagram as well. So other than that, Andre, what else kind of stood out to you there at the Senate meeting? I know there was a past legislation in internal affairs. I believe you sponsored the Legislative Efficiency Act. Do you have any comments or thoughts on that?
Yeah, so currently we are still waiting for that to be moved forward to our next Senate meeting. But either way, I feel pretty good about it. We are still pending on that, but obviously once it is moved forward and brings into light, we can definitely talk about it in our next podcast. And going forward with what we mentioned for the interns, what I really enjoyed about this one is when interns graduate, a good portion of them would more than likely become senators. So they'll send in their applications. So, and it was very convenient that we had 2 appointments this. So they actually got to see kind of, I guess, the procedure of how they can
process. Yes, a process that me and you actually undertook. As for those of you who don't know, although this past semester me and Andrea did run for election, our first term as senators we were actually appointed. And so an appointment looks like you go up to the Senate and you kind of pretty much present yourself why you feel you should get appointed to the Student Government Association, and they vote on you. They vote if they like you, if they don't. And in this case, both of our new applicants were voted in. And interestingly enough, we actually had a returning SGA member. So I know I had mentioned the new Associate Justice, Isabella. Although she is new to the Associate Justice position, she was also a former senator as well. So that was a kind of a cool case to see the different branches within SGA. There's not just senators, there's, of course, the president and vice president, but there's also Chief Justice and Associate Justices in case you're into the law and into looking at the actual documents and stuff. So I thought that was a really good point to note. And with that being said, Andrea, I know one of the big topics that we didn't necessarily cover last month, but I'm glad it was covered this month, was mental health. And so I guess what would you kind of want to say to maybe some students who don't know about the resources that UTRGV has to offer?
Of course. So the main one right now, we do have our counseling center, and there are a lot of students that don't know that this is actually completely free. Either you can do walk-ins, you can call them, via email. It is completely free to UTRGV students. And actually, now that you mention it, let me pull up the actual information to give to you guys once more.
And just a note, it's not just for military veterans, it's open to all students as well. And I want to once again say this because I really think this is important. It's completely free. You go to other services outside of the university, and they can range up to like $100 an hour. And, I can see how that can be really expensive for some people who are just needing some basic mental health services. And so here at UTRGV, they're completely free. So please take advantage of that. And I believe Andrea is going to go ahead and give you guys some of the exact resources.
Yes, for the counseling center, we have it both on the Edinburgh and the Brownsville campus. So for those that are located in Brownsville, it is going to be at the BSTUN 2.10, and their phone number is going to be 956-882-3897. And for Edinburgh, it's going to be at the U Central, and it is 109-956-665-2574. And then for those that would prefer to, contact them through email, it is going to be the counseling@utrgv.edu.
And with that note, we're going to go ahead and send it to a quick PSA and music break because we have a lot to discuss for campus updates. And one of your co-hosts here may or may not be guilty of all of the controversy that was caused this past week. But we'll go ahead and get into that right when we come back. And thank you for listening. And we are back with our most anticipated segment this week, the campus updates. And before we even get into it, let me just say this was a week that I haven't seen in a long time at UTRGV. And I think the most controversial topic this past week was definitely Scootergate. And for those of you who aren't aware, there was a lot of debate, I should say, between the usage of scooters or any other personal transportation devices there along the Bronx Trail. Now, by the end of the week, you were either on the scooter side or you were against scooters. There was no in between. It was almost like a UTRGV civil war, but with scooters. And for those of you, you may be wondering, how did it all start? Well, I'm going to go ahead and hand the floor over to Senator Andrea to tell her side of the story because she may or may not be responsible for the UTRGV Civil War of 2024. So I hand the floor over to you.
All right, I'm gonna get just like one point very clear. I did not mean for any of it to happen. I genuinely didn't think it was going to go that far. So early last week, I believe, to my knowledge, it was on Tuesday. I'm looking at my post right now, and it was 5 days ago. So it was around late afternoon, and I saw that two different students had posted at some point throughout the day that either they had an accident or they were walking, and then they would see someone with a scooter and they almost got run over. So and I said, okay, well, it's been about a week or two that I've been seeing more or less the same post. At least once a day someone would complain about it. So I said, okay, you know what, I'm going to put out just a friendly statement, just saying kind of the rules in regards to that. So I'm going to read the post. I have it right here with me. So I started with, hey vaqueros, just a friendly reminder that scooters, bikes, skateboards, etc. aren't allowed on the Bronx Trail. We have signs at the entrances to help keep everyone safe and to avoid injuries, accidents, or getting stopped by campus police. Let's work together to ensure a safe environment for all. Take care. Stay safe out there. I put the phone down. I got 5 different text messages within the next 20 minutes. They said, hey, have you checked the Facebook? And I said, not yet. What? Check the Facebook. I go in, and it currently has 87 likes, hearts, whatever, and 41 comments. So this definitely divided a lot of students. And I did read every single comment out there. So there was definitely, like you said, there were the team scooters and the team get rid of all of them. So I just wanted to put it out there. This is not a new policy. This has been going on for many years, the scooter thing. I think it's the first time that we see a lot of it because of the new enrollment. So obviously with new enrollment, there's going to be more scooters. And after I had posted this, I don't know if I'm paranoid or not, but I saw double the amount of scooters the next day.
I saw scooters everywhere I went. I couldn't get away from them. I think I even went to the restroom and there was a scooter there. And yeah, they rebelled. Those the one thing I learned is never mess with people that have scooters because they're gonna come at you. But you know what? They did somewhat bring a valid point in that they it's a big campus, and sometimes people don't want to walk all the way from their vehicles to class, and so I think they're just trying to look for a faster way of transportation. However, for those students who walk or don't use a personal transportation device, when they're trying to get to class specifically through that trail, it's a little difficult when there's someone speeding up behind you and you can get hit, you can get injured. It's not just that they don't like people with scooters. I think it's that they don't want to be injured or they don't want to be rushed, and so that is a valid point. And I think both sides have a valid point. It's just about communicating the different options available, and it gets bad when I have to step in. And so I made a statement as well. And I guess if we're, reading statements, I can go ahead and read mine here when I pull it up. But pretty much, yeah, it was team scooter or team not. And it was, 50-50. There was students that were saying that there's other options available for those who ride scooters or use personal transportation devices. And people that use personal transportation devices were saying that they've never seen any signs or they've never really seen it be enforced. So they didn't really have an idea that this was something that they weren't allowed to do which I can see that. And so I think what it is for me is it's just, communicating. And so this is the statement that I made in response to the chaos that Andrea started. This was on Friday. So it reads, Happy Friday, Vaqueros. This is Senator Schuyler here. Recently, it's come to my attention that there is an issue regarding transportation on the Bronx Trail, whether it be scooters, skateboards, or any other form of transportation. Just wanted to let you know, as senators, we hear your voice and concerns. To our personal transportation users, we will be working on informing you regarding your options, as there is options for you in the form of new bike and hallway alternatives to the Bronx Trail. Furthermore, we will work on informing students of those options and existing signs warning of Bronx Trail personal transportation use. Communication is key, and I will work on informing those students. To our non-personal transportation users, we will be working on informing those personal transportation users of alternative routes, hopefully encouraging them to explore those routes instead. At the end of the day, it's a big campus and there are many different ways to get to where we need to be. So let's embrace both options, whether it be if you are a walker or a personal transportation user. And I feel like I had to make that post because it was getting really bad. And I wanted to let both of our users aware of the different things that, the different options available. I'm not trying to, cause any more chaos. I was just trying to tell our personal transportation users there's different options for you, and we will work as a student government, at least in my role as senator, of informing you on those options. And to our non-personal transportation users, we will work on informing those who use the scooters and the skateboards that there are other, options available, so they're not using the Bronx Trail and potentially endangering anyone.
And actually, I thank you a lot for that statement that you put out because it got very out of hand very, very quickly. Within the first few hours after my post, there were maybe 6 other posts after me. There was even a poll that was actually made at the UTRGV students page. And I just want to preface, I completely understand both sides. I had a scooter. I used a scooter at UTRGV from my freshman year to my sophomore year. So I completely understand both sides. I understand the convenience of it. I know how it feels to want to go really fast to class. I also understand wanting to walk on the Bronx Trail and just not wanting to get hit. So I completely understand both sides. I never meant for it to be called Scooter Gate. And you commented on it, I think a day or two ago. So you still kind of poked at it.
I've been commenting on it like 3 or 4 times. I didn't mean to instigate, but it's just crazy how that one post, turned into all of that. And so I wanted to remind you that you technically started all this. But what do you say to those students who, because this was a valid reply, a response to your post. What do you say to those students who say that they really haven't seen any sign along the Bronx Trail, kind of warning them against using it? What would your response to that be?
I completely understand that because I also asked the same questions, especially in my freshman year when I had mentioned something about the scooters. And they said, well, it's not allowed on the Bronx Trail. And I said, well, what do you mean? There's no signs. And they say, yes, they are. So I kind of did my own little walk around the Bronx Trail. So these signs, they are located at the very entrance of the Bronx Trail. So where it says on top, the actual letters on it, that is where they're located. So I can understand why it's hard to know because they're not actually inside the Bronx Trail. You're not walking, let's say, for example, through the business building and it's going to be there. So I completely understand that point.
And I think this all kind of came to a head. The conclusion was when there was a student that posted that they got stopped by the campus police. And I think that really kind of let all the students know, like, okay, it's getting enforced, it's getting serious. And so I think after that, students started realizing that it wasn't necessarily a debate, but it was more of like a reminder that it's an actual rule. Like it's not something that we're just encouraging, transportation users to not do on the Bronx Trail, but it's actually university policy. And I think that's important for students to note that it's an actual university policy. It's not like we're making up this narrative against scooter users. It's just it's just university policy, and we want to make sure that those students are aware of that so they don't get in trouble. And I think that's all you were trying to say, and it just kind of you know it turned into Scootergate. So, what lessons have you learned, Andrea, that you can take forward and maybe not starting another Scootergate, if any? Maybe I don't know. Maybe you like Scootergate. What are your thoughts?
No, I would say, well, I did like Scootergate a little bit because I really got to, I guess, understand and elaborate on both points even more. But I do want to apologize to those scooter students because, quite honestly, I did not elaborate on, I guess, other trails that they can take other than the Bronx Trail because there's more to UTRGV than just the Bronx Trail. So I do wish I would have been more specific in my post, and I will be moving forward. And yeah, as senators, hopefully, will be working towards, I guess, just informing it a little bit better because even I didn't know coming in as a student. I didn't know about those signs.
Exactly, and there's even I believe it was even brought up as well that there's another walkway, another bike slash walkway that was
Yeah,
recently constructed or recently available to students, and I think the key is getting that information out there. And so, yeah, we can learn a lot, and hopefully we can do a better job of, as senators at least, and maybe even as students, informing other students of the different options available, instead of kind of just automatically siding with one side over the other. Most issues, it's not right or wrong. It's just you know a way of informing things, and so I think this was the perfect example of that. And I this actually leads me perfectly to the next point I want to bring up about not necessarily being on one side over the other, and that is it's in regards to SGA. So like I said, this week a lot happened. It wasn't just Scootergate. Another issue that was or I should say topic that was brought up on both sides was the use of a student wearing an SGA logo at a political event. And let me just start by saying this. It was on both sides. So there was two instances of a logo on a student that's SGA being used at a political event. And so that kind of sparked a discussion on what SGA's role is in one, informing that student that had the SGA logo about SGA's role, and two, it also kind of led to another discussion of what is SGA's role in the political world, right? And so, as a current senator, and of course, Andre is a current senator, I feel like we can speak to this. SGA is not, we're nonpartisan. We have nothing to do with the political atmosphere happening. I know because we're getting closer to early voting and actual voting day, the political atmosphere is a little hot right now. And so, naturally, people are going to be a little bit more aware of everything, right, that goes into that. But as far as SGA's role, we are only here to represent the students, right? I said when I was running for election that my only political party is you, the students. And that's the way it is in SGA. We have nothing to do with anything going on in the political spectrum. Our focus is solely on university issues, student issues, and anything that relates to bettering your experience as a student. Now, I will say this though. Yes, we are part of an organization that only focuses on student issues and university issues, but we have a lot of diverse individuals within our SGA, right? And so no matter what side you identify as, right, as an individual, I believe it's important to get respect, right, or just to respect each other's opinion. And I know there were some instances that were being reported, right, of maybe harassment or online bullying, and so I can say that I don't condone that at all. Regardless if you have a disagreement with someone on their beliefs, that's okay. And as long as you maintain that respect, I think that's all you need to have a healthy conversation. I think it only becomes worse when you don't have that respect, and then you see that that fighting between the two political sides. And so As a SGA senator, the two things I mostly want to say are, as SGA, we're nonpartisan. We only focus on students and the university issues. And the second thing I would say is, regardless of your political view or belief, you should be respected, and you have the right to be respected and not be attacked in any way, shape, or form. And with that being said, Andre, I know you're also an SGA senator, so I really want to give you the opportunity to speak on this and your perspective on things as well.
Of course. So, like you said, we are a month away from voting. So I can tell right now, even on both ends, things are very tense at the moment. And I understand a lot of students in the Facebook page were actually asking, SJ, what is going on? I know we were getting tagged at some point, trying to answer these questions. So it is really good to mention right now we are nonpartisan and only focusing on student concerns, how we can make UTRGB better for the students actually applying the things that we are hearing. So that is really good to mention right now. We read everything. We saw the logo, we saw the pictures, so we trust us. We're quite informed on what ended up happening. But yeah, we wanted to just give a quick reminder that SGA is nonpartisan regarding the recent controversy and regarding any political party just in general, having that mutual respect for each other, which is obviously going to be very important. And hopefully moving forward, we will be more cautious and more...
Yes, I think it's important as senators of SGA, we kind of carry a different kind of responsibility, and so in our role as senators, we're very careful to make sure that we convey SJ's message of just being for the students. And so, like I said, SJ was brought up. We were tagged. I was mentioned in a few comments. Personally, some students had personally messaged me asking me, what's going on. I thought SJ was just for the students, and I had to let them know, like, that is correct. We are just for the students. We're just for the university. And it just, with the elections coming up, things are just a little bit heated right now. But me and Andre, when we were making the script for this episode, we really wanted to make sure that we put that in there because we feel it's really important for our viewers and our student body to know, SGA, we're just here for you. And that's all we're going to focus on. That's all our mission is. And if you happen to do have a different belief from someone, that's okay. We just ask that you respect their, differences of opinion and beliefs, and that way the university can thrive as a whole. We can create a good environment for the university. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and shift notes a little bit to go ahead and recognize a very important month. So when you think of October, a lot of people first thing they think of is Halloween, right? And rightfully so. It's a great holiday, and it's might be my favorite holiday, and there's a lot of stuff going on. But October is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and so just wanted to let the student body know that it's a very important month. And if you know someone, or if you have any sort of experience with anyone that has had breast cancer, to let them know that this month is for them, and that as a university we support them. And there's many different events going on around campus actually that are going to help raise awareness for this month. I know this past weekend I attended a walk, a breast cancer awareness walk, and so I'm sure there's things happening around the community that are similar to that. I do know that the UTRGV Runners Club is a new club that has opened, and they are having meetings every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:20 p.m. at the Bronx Trail. So in case you like to exercise, or you like to run or get your steps in, this is the perfect club for you. And I do know that they are also celebrating Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I believe I saw in one of their posts that for this month they are going to be wearing pink whenever they are running along the Bronx Trail. And so, like I said, this would be a perfect opportunity to be a part of a cause that's greater than yourself, right? Breast cancer awareness, running with other students to not only bring awareness to Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but also to, like I said, exercise, meet new people. The thing I love about UTRGV is there's a community for everyone. So I don't know if in the past we've had a runners club, but I do know that this semester I've really seen an increase of social media engagement regarding this club. So that's going to be every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:20 p.m. at the Bronx Trail. You can meet with the UTRV's Runners Club, and please wear pink to help spread awareness and to show support for all those affected by Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And Andrea, as a female, obviously, do you want to speak to this?
Okay, so I saw your post regarding the event, and what I actually love about this, not only are we having so much awareness at UTRGV, but just as a community in general at the RGV area, that is one of the big things that was mentioned currently. So, it affects so many people across the world, and I know what you did was an actual walking.
Yes.
It was a walking event. So is that, I'm assuming it was like representing like, the commitment.
Yes, exactly. And so, believe it or not, it that day, at least where I'm from the Mid Valley area, so that's where the event took place. It was wet. It was raining, and so I forgot to check the weather. I didn't bring a jacket. I didn't bring an umbrella. So I ended up a little drenched at the end of it, but that's okay. What I was saying to others who also weren't wearing any weather resistant clothing is, for all the things that breast cancer awareness survivors, or even people that's ever been diagnosed, whether they're here with us or not, the fight that they do is nothing compared to the walk we did in the rain, right? And so I think walking in the rain is just the least of the worries of doing something, a part of that. Because if you think of the problems that the people that are affected by breast cancer face, walking in the rain is really nothing. And so it was good to show that commitment to them as a community. One of my favorite lines was, "We walk, but they fight." And so, we thought it was important to show, no matter the weather, no matter the rain, we're there to support anyone who's been affected by Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I'm sure there's going to be more walks in October. So if I do catch a wind of any more happening, I will definitely let the viewers of the SGA Insider know. And who knows, maybe you'll catch me and we can walk together. So with that being said, I'm going to go to a quick PSA, and we're going to come back. And Andrea has a quick legislative update she would like to give to you all. And we'll find out what that is when we come back. Okay, just like that, we're back. Just a quick little PSA. So we wanted to, or Andrea actually had a few legislative updates that she wanted to give to you all. So with that being said, I'm just going to hand the floor over to her and, let you guys know what she has on her mind.
Alrighty, so last week on Thursday, I was in the Brownsville campus, and I was speaking with a student, and normally I don't typically go too often to the Brownsville campus. I don't really have classes there, but I do attend events and meetings over there. So I don't know how the conversation came up, but I was with a big group of students, and 6 people asked, "Okay, where's the bathroom? Where's the water dispensers? Oh, I have a water bottle. Where do I fill it up?" It kept being brought up, and those students were from Brownsville. So, and a few of them were from Edinburgh. So I was talking with one of the students, and they mentioned how it would be a good idea for in the Brownsville campus to kind of apply some, I guess, expand on one, water access and safety. So one of the things that they wanted to actually implement into the Brownsville campus is more water dispensers. And even I've done a few of my own walks around the Brownsville. I have not really seen water dispensers. I know we have them, but realistically, I don't really know where they are. I know you actually have to go into B Main and do a walk around. And another one is actually the signs for the bathroom. Same thing. I asked, where is it? And they said, okay, you're going to go to this hallway, you're going to turn a left, and then you're going to go straight, and then you're going to do like this loop. And I said, okay, can you take me? Yeah. So they took me with them. So that was another thing that they wanted to fix. In addition to that, having the signs, they also wanted to implement an actual map on the Brownsville campus. So it could be in the front, and it could be one of almost like the ones that they see at the mall, that they're actually able to track where they are, and it'll say, you are here. So you kind of just like walk.
That's a wonderful idea. I'm actually mad I haven't thought of it myself. Actually, that would be an incredible way for students to be more aware of where they are. Like I said earlier in the episode, it's a big campus. And especially as a freshman, if you're first coming into this campus, any campus, you're going to be lost. And I know one of the most frequently asked questions regarding freshmen or incoming students are, where's the library? Where's this? Where's that? Where am I? Right? And so an interactive map like that would be really helpful to guide students to one, be more familiar with their campus, but also to maybe it'll kind of help with the transportation issue in a way, because a lot of the times students that are using the Bronx Trail, they're kind of just walking because they don't really know what's what. But if they maybe knew the best way to get to class, and let's just say it wasn't in the Bronx Trail, it was through another route, maybe the Bronx Trail wouldn't be so crowded at times, and that would allow for faster transportation and easier access to get to your classes. But that's a great initiative that student you said brought it up.
Yes.
Awesome. And so, uh, what are you going to do as a senator to address these issues? What are some ideas you had to turn that idea, that wonderful idea, to a reality?
Well, I would love to actually expand on this. So I started, almost kind of brainstorming with her of things we wanted to implement. So in regards to this actual map thing, when she was mentioning it to me, that's when I kind of got the idea, well, what about the ones that they have at the mall? It could be really big and really visible and, somewhere, especially right in front of campus, somewhere very close by, because I'd say I think the middle would be fine as well, but if it is placed anywhere else, maybe students are going to have trouble even finding the map, which is kind of what we want to avoid. And in addition to that, we actually had one more thing that we discussed, which is caution signs on the bridge. So almost like the wet signs that they have to prevent any slipping. And I love this idea because I slipped. I've slipped twice on that Brownsville bridge, and I was not running. I just wasn't hanging on to it. But first up, before we can even turn it into some type of, legislation or resolution, I would love to actually go back to campus and speak to more students regarding these issues, because if you are a Brownsville student, I'm sure you've seen these problems before. So you would kind of get a more innovative idea of how to actually solve it, maybe some other alternatives. Maybe instead of like the mall map, maybe they have something else. Maybe it could be digital, where you walk and it actually kind of follows.
Yeah,
with
no,
you.
and keep in mind we're senators representing at large Edinburgh, right? And so I'm sure from just that little interaction you've had with the students there in Brownsville, I'm sure there's a lot more students, because we're not necessarily at the Brownsville campus every day, so we aren't able to get the full perspective on maybe just how bad the issue is with the bridge, or needing a caution sign. So I think whenever you decide to make a trip back to Brownsville and talk to more students, I think you'll probably see an increase of concerns and inquiries regarding something we can do. And so thank you for the update, Andre, and I'm sure I'm more than willing to help you on this, and I'm sure we'll give you, the viewers, some updates whenever Andre go ahead and talks to more students about it. And, with that being said, with, all the water issues and the hopefully caution signs regarding if the bridge gets wet or potential rain, it's a perfect segue into our final song that's going to wrap up the episode, and then we're going to go into our outro. So with that being said, if you've ever seen the caution signs on the bridge, I'm sure you've seen the rain. And we are back. So before we move forward, I want to actually go ahead and give a quick disclaimer for all of our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on the SJ Insider podcast are those of us as host and guest, and do not necessarily reflect the official stance of the Student Government Association as a whole. We are simply sharing our personal perspectives and ideas as senators, and our discussions are intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. And so with that being said, of course, we just want to thank you all for taking the time to listen to us. Once again, we are now at our third episode. And, I remember when we were doing our first episode, or even before that, me and Andre were nervous. We didn't really know, how the show would go, or, how we would be as host and co-host. But I think we've learned a lot in just 3 episodes. And so we're very excited to continue to inform the student body. And we're always available for you guys. We're not just available during the SGA Insider. We are available via social media on our Instagram and Facebook. And so if you as a student have any sort of concerns or things that you wish to express, you can reach out to my senator page at senator_Skyler, and that's going to be the same on Instagram and Facebook. And once again, it's senator_Skyler. My DMs are always open in case any student has anything they want to make me aware of. And how about yourself, Andrea? Where can they reach you at?
For me, my Facebook is going to be Senator Andrea Gaitan, and for my Instagram, it is Senator_Andrea Gaitan. And just a quick reminder, because I did get asked at some point, it is GAYTAN. So that will be the easiest form of contact. And actually, now that you're mentioning that in the actual accessibility of how students can reach us, I got a DM regarding Scootergate the last few minutes.
Oh, really?
They asked if we can bring our horses on campus and if we could have a corral station or something. See, we're vaqueros.
I don't know if the Bronx Trail, if it means to, actually take your horses on the trail. I would not recommend it. Hey, maybe it wouldn't be the best idea, unless maybe you want to start Horsegate. Maybe we'll have some content next week. Horsegate, maybe that'll go viral as well. All we need is Andrea to make a post about it, and it'll blow up apparently. So, not sure about bringing horses, but hey, who knows, right? Who knows? And with that being said, just a quick preview into our next episode. We do not have a Senate meeting this Friday, so we won't have any Senate meeting highlights for you next episode, but I'm sure we'll make up for it with campus updates. We're going to try to bring in my intern. He was actually supposed to come today to speak to you all, but he missed his bus, so he wasn't able to make this episode. But hopefully next episode, he can go ahead and be on this show and talk to you guys a little bit about his perspective as an FY intern and, just his perspective on things around campus. I know as senators, it's a little bit different how me and you view campus and view the updates. We haven't really yet got a student's perspective on everything that's been happening. And so maybe with this intern, it'll kind of give us a different perspective from the student side of everything that's been going on. But, at UTRGV, you never know what's going to happen. So who knows what we're going to be bringing you next week and next episode. We barely got through Scootergate. There was something that came up this morning, another issue, I should say, and maybe if it blows up, we'll report it to you all next week. But with that being said, do you have any final words, Andrea, for our listeners?
I think that would be it. I would just like to thank everyone for listening to us. And in regards to actually bringing in more people, I would love to have more of our interns coming in. And if we ever decide to do Q&As, at the UTRGV students, I would love to get perspectives, especially from different campuses. So not just from Edinburgh, we can get people from Harlingen and especially Brownsville campus. We can ask them directly regarding the actual Brownsville safety expansions that we would like to implement in the future, hopefully.
And with that being said, hopefully we can get that in the next episode. So one more time, this is Senator Skyler Howell. I'm here with
Senator Andrea Gaitan.
And this is
the SGA Insider.
And I'll see you in the next episode.